Today on Trending Product Reviews we are reviewing a Fujifilm Instax Mini 9 camera, as you can see. These are trending still, they've been out for a few years. This is a 2018 one, it was bought at the end of last year. It has a couple new features compared to the original. This model is ice blue, but you can also get a few other colours. Other colours include flamingo pink, lime green, cobalt blue, smoky white, blush pink and poppy red. In the box you get, you'll want to get a set that contains some film with it. If you get the standard camera on its own, it won't have film. It's an instant printing camera, so you're going to need some film. It's not one that you can ever plug into any other device. All your photos come out on a print. You obviously get your camera. You get the strap that comes with it, which is handy. It's quite a bulky thing, you can drop it. You get a cute little sticker. You get a clip-on lens, which is new compared to what the standard camera used to have. We'll go through how to use this later. You get some instruction manuals, and with this one you've got a pack of film. With the new 2018 onwards models, the camera comes with a cute little selfie mirror. This is obviously so when you're taking photos you've got something as a guide to see what's in the frame. It is strange picking one of these up and thinking you're going to take a photo and you've got to really think about what the settings are. You can't delete it and take another one. It's going to print straight away. So yeah, it's a handy feature they've added. The camera on its own is going to focus at about 60 centimeters, so that's just about there, if you can see. With your little clip-on lens, this is what you're going to use for selfies or portraits or close-up photography, and that goes to 35-50. And the best way to figure out what you need is to practice and experiment before you take it to special events, if you're going to do that. The more you practice, the less you have to think about it. I used this over Christmas. Kind of wanted to find out why it's still trending when it's been out for quite a while, and also they've got new models out that have more features. Like, why is this still trending when you've got ones that are available with more settings? And I think the main reason is it's a bit of fun. They're a nice gift to give to someone. They come in lots of fun colours, and you can normally tell a colour that suits someone. I went for blue because I like all things that are blue. Took it to a lot of different settings, so it's had a very thorough, good review. I've used 3 packs of film. You get 10 photos per pack of film. Many of them were, I think I got excited and thought this looks like it'd be easier than it is, and I just started snapping away. But there's things to think about. Once you know them, it's very easy to use. So you're excited, you've opened your camera up and you're looking at it, and the best thing to do is read the manual or get a YouTube video up and find out what settings you've got, how to load the batteries, how to load the film, and yeah, don't underestimate, if you've never used one of these before, or any camera other than what's on your phone, there are a couple of little mistakes you can make, and at £10 a pack of film you don't want to waste any of those shots, so just have a quick look. On the body we've obviously got the lens, we've got the shutter button, we've got the power button. To turn it on is really easy. You're just going to push this one that sticks out of it, and then that means you're good to go. You can take a photo. You're probably going to want to put batteries in it first. That's probably the best thing to do. That's really easy. You've just, on the right hand side of it, you slide this compartment down, and it's really easy to find AA batteries. They just go in there. There's the usual little symbols, plus and a minus, as to what way to put them round. Next up, you're going to look at how to load your film. Now, as I got snap happy and I've used all 3 rolls of film, I haven't got one to show you, but it is really, really easy. You're going to open this part of the back. There's a yellow band at the top and there's a yellow band at the top of your film, and all you do is match those up. You shut your film in there and then you're good to go. So obviously we've got an empty box now. This previously was full up with all your carefully placed little pieces of Instax mini print, and it had this cover on it. And you can see it's got a picture of a thumbprint with cross through it, so it's saying do not stick your thumb here, it will ruin something, you'll ruin your paper. And then the little, these weren't obviously popping about, they were just a solid black rectangle, and it tells you to hold the edges and line up this little yellow rectangle with a little yellow dot that's right here. So it's so super easy. I think anyone could do it. Something to remember about your film: once you've put the film in the camera, never ever ever open it up again, because you're going to ruin all your film. You're not going to be able to quickly shut it and start taking photos again. The film will be damaged. Don't leave it in the car to get too cold or hot. Keep it at room temperature, but once it's in there, it's totally safe, fine. You can probably shake this camera a little bit, it can knock about in your bag and it'll be fine. Once you've loaded a film, the first slide is not actually a photo, it's the protective casing that looks after all those sheets that are going to print for you. And the very first one, you're going to load your camera and you're just going to take a random photo, it doesn't matter where you point the camera. It's going to come off and it's going to look like this. And that means you now know you've got 10 photos to take. There's a little window on the back, and that will start counting down from 10 as to how many photos you have left. So that's pretty easy and self-explanatory. Also on the back, the only other thing is your viewfinder. So you can look through here and see, obviously when you're taking pictures of other people or you're lining up a location, landscape, you can just look through there. On the front, you've got a flash. This will always go off. There is no way to turn it off. Bear that in mind when you're taking photos of children or animals, because that's a good learning curve. Here, you do not want to, when you're taking photos, put your fingers over the sensor or the viewfinder, because you're not going to be able to see if you're looking through there. You're not going to want to cover up the flash, because you're going to make half of your photo dark. And then you've also got light meters here and here. These are really handy. Do not cover these up. These measure the light levels of where you are, and then with every photo it will choose a setting and a little red light appears, and you have to twist the lens, there's a little dot, to the most appropriate setting. It won't do it for you. You have to manually select it. It will flash red and indicate which it thinks you should choose. And there's only five easy settings to choose from. I do think overall these are quite fun gifts, and there's something that look cute with people's outfits, and they're more something to be seen with. The photos it prints are kind of fun, vintage, reminiscent of Polaroids, that people kind of want to savour memories, and I think people think carefully before they take a photo, and then therefore these types of photos may become more meaningful than what people end up with on their phone. What shooting modes do you have? As we said, you've got 5. We'll start with something they had on the previous model as well, called High Key. This one will not flash red. It's the only one that doesn't have the red setting, but it's good to know you should only use this indoors. It's not for use outdoors. It's going to add a lot of extra glowy light to your portraits, make all the definition a little bit softer, so your shadows aren't going to be as dark and your brighter areas are going to be washed out a little bit. We've got a full sun setting. This will be f32, I found out, which is basically the highest number. The higher the f number, the less light it lets into the lens. This is not something I knew when I first started taking photos. We went to Canterbury and it was a very sunny day, and I was selecting the next one along, which is the sun, but it wasn't enough for full bright sun, and I needed to have it on that. Everything was slightly overexposed, too bright, and washed out. So your next one after f32 is f22, and that's that sunny and partially cloudy. Again, the camera's going to choose that if you need it. The next one along is cloudy, and then finally you've got indoors, and they are both f16 and f12.7. So it's just to be aware. The camera on its own, I really struggled at first to try and take a selfie. That might be because I've got really short arms, but after doing some more research, this little lens is really handy. It kind of, not fisheye necessarily, but it makes a wider angle lens. You can click this on really easily when the camera is off and the lens is in. I'll show you now. You just wiggle it into place, and then you can turn your camera on with that shutter button, and it's good to go. You can take selfies really easily, or really close-up photos. Fuji photos come out really nicely as well. The colours in them are nice, bright. You can see this little red light in action now. So obviously we're indoors and it's night time, and it's selected the little house on the right because it knows that's most appropriate. Then I'm just literally going to twist this wheel, which is already on there, but it's really easy to flip between different modes. Bear in mind, every time you turn the camera on and off, like you might be out exploring one day, sightseeing, and you might put the camera back in your bag and then you pull it out again, it's going to need to choose a light sensitivity from scratch. So it might have been cloudy earlier on, and then you walk along and the sun comes out and you've still got it left on that old setting, so you need to just double check before you press that take a photo button that the setting is correct. So I'm going to take a photo for you now, just so you can see the camera in action. Again, it's easy to open this up. You're going to turn it on and pop the lens out. I've left this little lens cap on because I'm about to take a selfie. I'm going to try and line myself up. One thing about this, you have to make sure the lens cover is clipped on, and then you can only see half of your selfie mirror, so that's something to be aware of, but we know it's easier to take selfies with this lens cap on, so it should be fine. All you do then is you're going to hit your little power button to take a photo. You can hear it working. It takes 90 seconds for a photo to develop. And there's a myth, you do not need to shake this to make it develop. The actual best thing to do, I found out, is put it in a dark place. And when I was walking around Canterbury, or we took it up London, safest probably in a dark place and in like a zip compartment of a bag, or you want somewhere safe to put it. You see it developing already, it's starting to do something. It's my terrible concentration phase. Places you can buy film, something you want to consider before spending money on one of these. It's actually quite easy to get hold of the Instax film. Instax is the name of the film you want to search, and it's Instax Mini, not the square one, which will be for the Fujifilm cameras. The next one's up, they're like a big square. There's a silver one and a copper one, but you want to always look out for Mini, and that's not the square traditional Polaroid size, it's these kind of little portrait instant photos. Places you can buy it are Boots, Urban Outfitters, John Lewis, ASOS, Argos, Jessop's, PC World, Amazon, Very. They usually come in packs of 10 and are £10 per pack, but you can get bundles and there's always offers to be had. You've just got to have a little bit of a hunt and find them. Each printout is 5.4 centimetres by about 8, and there's a nice little border where you can write things. I found out you can also get different coloured ones, so multicoloured pastel ones, polka dot ones, black and white's quite nice, it's got like vintage vibes, stars, and also fun comic strip ones I found. It would be much better if Fujifilm sold these with a nice little safety box for when your pictures have developed, because luckily I was out and about with a bag that happened to have an empty zip pocket, and I would just safely putting them in there, but most people are going to have their bag full of their usual day-to-day stuff and they might not have that free. With the selfie mirror, and it's really difficult using this when trying to do group shots. It says we'll try and look at that little mirror and check that you're all in there, but we've got examples where we're nearly all in the frame, but people maybe at the pub couldn't even get in the frame, so I think that was, yeah, a couple more goes and we would have got it, but it's just something to bear in mind. Sometimes it is just better to do the traditional, could someone take a photo please. The flash is not always flattering. That's something we noticed depending on where you are and what the indoor light is like. Indoor lights obviously vary massively and you've only got one setting to choose from. So if you're doing a selfie and the flash goes off, normally the person who's closest to it, their face is going to be really whited out, whereas people behind might have more shadows on their face, and it's just something to bear in mind when you're taking the photo. Natural daylight can be much better if you're trying to get a nice photo and you've got the option to take everyone outside for a group photo. You might pick up more details. I like that these cameras are not very serious. It's just a bit of fun. You can just go straight over to the Fujifilm Instax Mini website and you see all the different messing around and variations of things you can do. It took me a while to get used to it. It wasn't like I had it in one setting and it took a while to get used to in that setting. I used it in several different scenarios and had to try and remember, what did I learn the other day? Why did that go wrong? Can I change it? Like trying to take pictures of Christmas lights was really difficult, because you look at them in an indoor scenario and you think they're really bright, we're going to get that photo. But when the flash goes off, if there is anything closer than those brightly lit shopping centre lights, it's just going to focus on that small thing that's in front. There's a few things to just try and remember when you're using it, just so you don't waste all your film. Think about the lighting, where your hand is when you're taking the photo. Practice makes perfect. The furthest away thing I got a photo of was a cathedral. I was stood back quite far in the street, but the reason that photo actually came out okay was because the colours of the sky and the actual cathedral were quite strikingly different, so it was able to pick it up. But you have to remember 60 centimetres is at the point at which this starts focusing. And with that little clip lens, it's going to be 35 to 50 centimetres, so that's not that much. That is portrait. Just have a look at the landscape you're trying to take a photo of and think, is it contrasting enough? I would say I'm never going to try and take pictures of fireworks based on my learnings from Christmas fairy lights. It's just not going to be able to pick up the definition of the lights. It's not going to be able to focus on it. Having it as a background, maybe, because if you have fireworks as a background to someone in front with the flash going off and it's set to dark mode, that might be okay. This camera is very reliable. Every photo printed immediately, every time. They all developed. Other accessories you can buy elsewhere. I've seen special Fujifilm Instax mini photo frames. We know Urban Outfitters likes those. They're like narrower. And they might be clear or glittery or have fun themes to them. You can get protective bags, you can get special fridge magnet frames as well, like magnetic ones. Protective cases I am going to look at, definitely. There are coloured filters that snap on the front as well, and also different camera straps. So I think if I was going to take this to a different country, I wouldn't be happy just having the hand strap. I'd be bit more comfortable if I had a proper neck strap. The price of this one was $64.99. You can get different bumper packs with different accessories. Really like this camera overall. It was a lot of fun and nice to have over Christmas, especially with all our friends and family around with a bit of time off. Thank you for listening today. Make sure you follow us. If you've got any questions, just put them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. I hope you enjoyed the review today, and I will just leave you with a few snapshots of my experiments. Thank you.